Hi, it's Ed, and I welcome you to Global TV Talk Show again. I want to introduce our sponsors. Global TV Talk Show is co-sponsored by Porchlight Rental and Destination Services. That's porchlightrental.com, porchlightrental.com. Also by cubemonk.com. That's cubemonk.com. It's an innovation in also good packaging, freight forwarding, wonderful invention. And by the relocation management company, AIRS Relocation. That's AIRES, airs.com. Thank you for being a sponsor of Global TV Talk Show.
As an expat moving to the USA, relocating is exciting, but it can also be stressful. Getting a car, truck, or SUV for personal transportation is usually a high priority. That's where International Auto Source comes in. We make getting the vehicle you want for your work assignment or academic program easy, so you're ready to drive when you arrive. Our product specialists have helped over 50,000 expatriates with their personal transportation needs, making us the largest international auto retailer in the world. International Auto Source gives you flexible payment options to buy, lease, or rent a vehicle from the world's leading auto brands, arrange financing on a purchase or lease without a U.S. credit history, social security number, or driving record, get full insurance coverage, and get approved easily through our low-rate factory-backed financing programs. And because we're an authorized distributor of the world's leading automotive brands, our no-haggle prices are competitive, and the buying experience is hassle-free. We'll even guarantee your new vehicle will be ready the day you arrive. With over 20 years of experience in the global community, we are the vehicle experts for expats. We are International Auto Source.
Hello there! Are you going global? If so, it makes sense to obtain insurance that will cover you and your family members globally. Expat Financial is an independent international brokerage that offers international health insurance, expatriate life and disability insurance, as well as travel insurance plans to both individual expatriates and expatriate employers. Expat Financial connects clients around the world with well-known and respected insurance service providers while providing excellent client support and service. Individual expats can also obtain a quote and apply for international health insurance coverage via expatfinancial.com. Expat Financial, a division of TFG Global Insurance Solutions Ltd, can also source special risk coverage for employees working in high-risk countries. Please contact Expat Financial today to discuss your global insurance needs. Remember, Expat Financial is your go-to expatriate insurance specialist. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
Hi, this is Ed Cohen in San Diego, and this is Global TV Talk. It's a service of globalbusinessnews.net. And very special guest today is in St. Louis, Lauren Herring, who's CEO of Impact Group. Let's say hi to Lauren. Welcome.
Hi, Ed.
Thanks for being on the show. It's really an honor to have the Impact Group involved with us again. So, Lauren, tell us about your book.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be able to share a little of the insights from my new book, Take Control of Your Job Search, 10 Emotions You Must Master to Land the Job. So in this environment, we're looking at a lot of unemployment. And so the key to getting that next job is that you need to stand out. But at the same time, it's an emotional challenge, lots of ups and downs in the job search. And so that is how I am. This book is different from other job search books in that it not only helps you with the tools and tactics and things that you need to do to land a job from a strategic standpoint, but also what are the things that you need to do to set yourself up for success emotionally as well.
So, is this a sideline, a side hustle, or is this actually part of the impact group these days?
So this is all supportive of Impact Group. So basically what I did is I took our 30 years of experience in supporting people in finding a job through the ups and downs, the emotional highs and lows. And I interviewed dozens and dozens of our coaches and pulled out the key points of some of the emotional challenges. And so I highlight 10 emotions in the book that if you can master these emotions, then you're going to be that much closer to landing your next job.
So it's geared for men and women, right?
Absolutely. Yes. This is, these emotions are human emotions. And so we all experience them. The men and the women are highlighted in case studies in the book, and really goes step by step, almost recreating the coaching experience through this book.
So you talk about emotions. What kind of emotions?
I start out talking about the emotions of loss, especially like right now in the world of COVID. There's a lot of people who've lost their jobs and they start going through their emotions of loss, whether that's grief and sadness, anger, fear. These are emotions that have a lot of energy to them, but then that can also bring you down. We then move into the emotions that paralyze you, and so these emotions are denial, frustration, loneliness, anxiety, and so these are emotions that can stop you in your tracks, really, in the job search.
So self-worth.
Absolutely. Worthiness is something that we actually cover kind of throughout the process, but also in the emotions that move you forward. So I have a section called momentum at the end, and we talk about confidence, self-compassion, and excitement. And so those are other areas where the flip side to that self-worth is where you are coming to your job search from a place of confidence.
So mental health used to be a stigma. That still is, unfortunately. But how it's handled, particularly in work from home, work from anywhere, work from home situations, especially for people who are not used to that degree of closeness and pressure from pets or kids running around, and the conflict of having to spend time, wanting to spend time and having to do work and not knowing where the next paycheck is coming from. This is crazy making, isn't it?
Yeah. So one of the things that we hear a lot about in job search in general, and especially right now, is the sense of loneliness that people have. And maybe a few months ago, people might have felt like I'm the only one unemployed. And even though right now there's a lot of people that can say that, the sense that that it's hard to get out of the house makes it a much more challenging experience mentally to figure out, how do I engage in a job search that's productive, where you're able to network, where you're able to move forward in your job search, and loneliness does set in. So one of the things that I highlight again and again and again throughout the book is there are certain job search strategies that can help you in mastering these emotions. And one of the big ones is networking. And
good point. Yeah.
If all you're doing is sitting behind your computer 40 hours a week, clicking apply, 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 that is a sure way to be at the bottom of the pile in terms of where your resume is. And getting out, even if it's virtually, getting out there, putting yourself out there, networking, connecting with other people, even virtually, is the key to both not feeling isolated in this process, as well as being more successful in your job search.
Well, people who are under this kind of stress, male or female, young or old, uh, learning how to um, not hide it, learning how to talk about it, how to be human, right? I mean,
Right.
people on the hiring manager or the interviewer,
Mhm.
um, they're not robots. I mean, these are people, and you have to trust that they're mature and they're probably hassled as well, but different ways. So, how do you communicate with somebody who's possibly going to make or break you in terms of dealing with a tense home situation?
Well, the key is you want to strike that sweet spot between overconfidence, confidence, and vulnerability. Because if you are expressing too much vulnerability in an interview, then the interviewer is going to question your competence, unfortunately. So the sweet spot is just that right amount of confidence and likability so that you're demonstrating both confidence and competence.
So do you
Um,
coach on language, on posture, on clothing, as well as how to not to come across as a bully or to be defensive?
Yeah, in fact, I talk about how there's one of my favorite TED Talks by Amy Cuddy talks about how your posture and your physicality can actually make a difference to what's going on physiologically in your body. So one of the things you can do before you go into an interview, even if it's just go well at home, maybe you just do it right before the Zoom call. But then if you're actually in person, you can go stand in the restroom stall and put on a Wonder Woman or a Superman pose or something like that. And that actually does change the body chemistry in your body and can increase your confidence, believe it or not. So just a little trick there.
So, but you don't advocate somebody wears a big S when they sit in front of the Zoom.
No,
That
but
could probably be funny.
no, but going back to your original question, you don't want to start pouring out your heart in
Right.
an interview. However, you do need a way that you can let it all out. So I talk about in the book how important it is to have what I call a super team, or you can call it your personal board of advisors or your kitchen cabinet. And so these are the people that you want to surround around you, both from a personal standpoint as well as a professional standpoint, so that you do have that shoulder to cry on, that person to vent to, because it is very important to be able to feel your emotions and accept them and own them. Because if you don't, they're going to be there one way or the other, whether you want them to or not.
So let's step aside for a second and talk about the impact group and how you integrate the book and all this coaching approach in your counseling uh, with corporate employees.
So, Impact Group has been counseling and coaching people in career transition for over 30 years. So, like I said earlier, that this book is really pulling together all those best practices that we've accumulated over the years, especially looking at a contemporary job search for what's going to work today, and especially in a complicated job market like we have right now in the world of COVID plus high unemployment. And um, so I'm very proud of the work that we do at Impact Group, which is focused on an approach we call one to me, which is not only one to one, but it's going further than that. It's identifying what is it that you as a job seeker or an individual that we're working with specifically need, and let's pair you with exactly those resources and the coaching one-on-one that you need to be successful. And what we've identified is that it's not only the tools and tactics and job search strategy that is so critical to a job seeker's success, but it's also that support they get in the emotional ups and downs. And that's why I realized that while there's hundreds or even thousands of job search books out there right now that focus on the job search strategy, there's hardly anything out there in the literature that looks at the emotional impact of the job search. And that is where we hear some of the greatest feedback of the value of our coaching programs.
Well, good for you. Good for
So
you.
I wanted to figure out how can we take that special sauce that we offer through our coaching and allow that to go to the masses for people who need it most right now.
Are you able, through your corporate contacts from the Impact Group, are you able to make connections for some of the individuals that are going through your coaching?
Yeah, so the people that we work with one-on-one through our corporate relationships actually do have the ability for us to help with some placement. The core part of our business is career coaching. So we're not a placement company, but depending on the situation, depending on the openings, that we can provide some support in that space. But what we know works, the absolute best way to find a job is for the job seeker themselves to be focusing on building their own network, and then how can we supplement that.
So do you have a book cover you could hold up?
Absolutely. Here it is.
Okay.
Take control of your job search. 10
Okay.
emotions you must master to land the job.
And where do you buy it?
You could buy it at Amazon or wherever you buy books. So just type that in and it'll take you right to it.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. And what's the website for Impact?
Impact Group is at impactgrouphr.com.
So the company has been in business a very long time. We're very familiar, but it's changed, of course. Everyone's changed and morphed. So spouse counseling is a no-no, or is that still going on?
Absolutely. Obviously, in this environment, there's a little bit less mobility because of the hiring market is depressed a little bit, but we are still working with spouses and partners going through career transition as a result of corporate relocation. So we work with families in that process, both on the job search side for the spouses, as well as helping the family acclimate and integrate into the new area. And then we also provide job search coaching for people who've been laid off. And so this is an area where we're seeing more volume coming in right now because as people are laid off, part of their severance package includes an outplacement package, which is the career coaching that we provide.
Excellent.
And then we also provide career and leadership development, which is very interesting. In this environment, we're seeing a lot more focus on executive coaching, and we're doing a lot of that right now as well.
Okay, let's do a little bit of a deep dive into executive coaching. What does this mean in English?
Well, executive coaching is a process where we work with an individual in business. It could be either sponsored by the organization, or an individual can pay for the services themselves, although most of what Impact Group does at this point is corporate sponsored. And then we have an executive coach that will work one-on-one with that person, again, in that one-to-me approach, identifying where are they today, how are we assessing current skills, current gaps, and then how can we get them to where we want them to be, or where their organization or where they want to be to accomplish more in their career, whether that is that they need to build some skills for that next opportunity, for that next level up, or that they're new in a role and they're onboarding into an organization. And so they're looking to figure out how they can best make impact right away. It could be really all over the board in terms of how can they increase their value to an organization. And we do that at the executive level. We also do a similar type of support for individuals more in a developmental nature.
So to what extent is your counseling resources psychologists?
Well, we are not psychologists or practicing psychologists as an organization. We focus on coaching. And so the main difference here is that we are focused on helping where we can ask questions to people so they can figure out their own uh, greatest opportunities to take themselves to the next level. So it's really about how that we can open their eyes to what they already have inside and then push forward in that way. So we're not consultants where we're telling people what to do, and we're not providing actual mental health like a psychologist or a psychiatrist would, but it really is helping an individual to harness what's already inside of them by asking questions that maybe they would not have thought to ask themselves.
So I need to ask, to what extent is there confusion that this is part of an EAP program?
I don't think there's much confusion on that. Typically, in the job search environment, if someone is at a very low, dark place, there there are situations where we've had to um, make sure that they are aware of their EAP, Employee Assistance Program resources. However, for the most part, um, most people recognize that this too shall pass. And so, one of the examples that I give in the book when we're talking about fear is a lot of times in job search, the fear of the unknown, this great black cloud of fear, can sometimes be worse than if you actually just peel back the onion a little bit and ask yourself questions like, what am I actually afraid of? What is my worst fear relating to joblessness? And maybe it's that it's going to take a long time to get a job. Maybe it's that I'm going to lose my house, or that my spouse won't respect me. So then the question is, okay, now that we've identified that worst fear, first of all, a lot of times, like, naming that fear and identifying it makes it all of a sudden that much less difficult to deal with, rather than this massive unknown fear of the unknown. And then once you've also named it, you can start actually um, putting some plans in place. So what happens if this does happen? What will I do? Will I be okay? First of all, and then you can figure out, okay, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm okay? And what do I need to do to make sure this doesn't happen? And so if your fears are financial in nature, then maybe you need to meet with a financial planner. Maybe you need to take on a side gig. Maybe you need to do some other things to set yourself up so that the worst doesn't happen. So those are some, so it gives you power, or in the case of what the book says, it allows you to take control of your job search so that you're not just letting your fears control you in that case.
Great. To what extent are you using telemedicine kind of approach? I mean, in the old days, it was face to face, wasn't it? But now it's more like Zoom, isn't it?
Yeah, Impact Group has actually been using virtual coaching for the entirety of our existence. So for over 30 years, we've been providing telephonic coaching, and now we've added the Zoom coaching or the video coaching to it. So I would say we have not skipped a beat in terms of how we've been able to deliver services. And in fact, what we've found that a lot of times uh, virtual coaching is more effective because it just allows you to move really quickly into the heart of the matter.
Yeah. So tell me, as we come to a close in the next 5 minutes or so, um, as much as you want to about yourself, but also how are you thinking about, as CEO of an organization that has a long history and successful history of helping people and companies, how are you reinventing for the new now, what I call the new now? There's that crossing that bridge over troubled waters and to that place called the new now over there. How are you looking at reinventing your product, services, or yourself for people who will have gone through trauma and job loss or change. Everybody's going through change, and not everybody's dealing with it well.
So that's an interesting question, because it actually is totally in line with why I started the book and why I decided to write this book. So a number of years ago, Impact Group was going through a product development process because we were identifying that a lot of our corporate clients were asking us to lower our prices, find ways to do more with less. And I'm sure most people in their line of work can relate to having received requests like that. So we were looking at every part of our service delivery. And what we were finding is that as the programs became skinnier and skinnier for the job search support, that we needed to be able to provide the guidance on how to do the resume and how to interview and how to network. That is core to what the expectation is for this program. But the challenge was that the greatest amount of value that people got from the program was actually in the emotional support from the coach. And so that's when it clicked that there's so much value in the emotional support that we wanted to find alternative ways to deliver that. So we're providing a lot of the content that's in the book. We're making this available to people virtually as well. So maybe they're not necessarily going through it in a one-on-one in-person kind of mode, but maybe they're doing it virtually on their own time to be able to ask themselves some of these questions about how they dig a little deeper in their job search to deal with some of these emotions. So, relating to COVID and this new normal, job search has always been stressful. It is inherently an emotional process. I would say that's only dialed up now in the world of COVID. So people are experiencing even more emotional swings one way or the other. And so we just need to be tuned in to supporting people with where they are and make sure that we're helping them address these issues before they become problematic in their job search.
So, to what extent are you coaching people to become a marathon runner or something?
Well, you know what? I think what we're doing is we're asking people what it is that would give them great satisfaction in their lives. And a lot of times the conversations do focus around careers. But the thing is, we, especially nowadays, we're not, I'm this person at work and I'm this person at home, but especially now where home and work lines are very blurred, we're one whole person. Yeah. And so if there are goals that are critical or important to you as an individual, as a coach, we want to know that, because that can be part of the life plan that we put together with you as well.
More human. So, to what extent are you using video in your day-to-day training?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. All the time. Video is core to our coaching conversations, as well as we do a lot of webinars as well to provide additional content and resources to people in the job search process.
Well, this has been highly educational for me, and I really appreciate learning about how your company has grown and developed, and because of you, become more youthful, of course, in its outlook and its diversity. So let's talk about this DE&I thing, and not to get off the track here, but just to apply this energy that's going on now about DE&I as it applies to the stress and the job, the fluid situation about work and work from home, or would you get into an elevator in a tall building again, and all these crazy things going on, wearing a mask or what?
Right. The way that I would think about this in the job search is, first of all, just making sure that when you're looking for a new opportunity, a company to join, this is a very important decision for you. And I think a lot of job seekers come at this with the perspective of, I just am hoping to get a job offer.
Right.
But on the other hand, you can own your power and your value to an organization just as easily as they might be dangling the carrot for employment for you. You you have a lot of value as well. And so what I mean by that is you have a right to be choosy in making sure that you're going to end up at the right organization for you. And take the time to review the values and learn about the culture and interview that organization just as hard as they're interviewing you. Not necessarily where it's your first question in the interview where you say, well, what's the career path or something like that. That's not what I mean. But you can ask intelligent questions about the culture, about how people live out the values every day, and make sure that, especially from a DE&I perspective, that if you're looking for an organization that's going to live out that kind of a vision, then ask the questions in the interview process to make sure this is going to be a place that you'll feel comfortable in the future.
Yeah, lifestyle is work style. It's all merged together. There's no such thing as work-life balance. So about yourself, family enterprise for sure, but do you want to share anything deeper about yourself these days?
Sure. Well, the interesting thing to mention is I actually have a 5-month-old at home right now. And so I left on maternity leave in February, and the world was kind of going along as we were expecting it to.
Right.
And just a couple of weeks into my leave is when everything just turned around 180 degrees.
Right.
And I recognized how vital it was to get this book out. You would think I'm a fortune teller, but I started writing this book over a year and a half ago. And so in March, I decided, okay, let's move up the plans to get this book out and get it into the hands of people where it can provide a lot of value, because people need it so much right now. And there's a lot of people that are hurting. And I know that the content in this book is able to support people. So I sacrificed a little of my maternity leave in order to move that forward, but little Luke is okay with that.
Oh, that's cool. I like that name, Luke. So have you thought about turning the book into an audio book?
I have, and I just haven't taken that step yet, but I have heard from a lot of people that they do take advantage of audiobooks a lot. So right now it's in a paperback and a Kindle version and e-version.
Yeah.
But I decided with the book, my goal is not so I can make a whole lot of money on this. I really want to get this in the hands of people. So that's why I didn't even do a hardback, because I feel like, let's just get it out to people.
Right.
At most, if you're in career transition, you don't need to spend an extra $20 on a hardback version.
Right. Well, Lauren Herring, the Impact Group in St. Louis, I thank you very much for being our guest today on Global TV. It's an honor to have you share this space with me, and thanks a bunch. Once again, thanks again for doing this. Once again, the name of the book and your website.
Great. It's Take Control of Your Job Search, the 10 Emotions You Must Master to Land the Job. And you can find me at impactgrouphr.com or even laurenherring.net.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Lauren. Have a great day. And it's wonderful to see you someday in person again, somewhere, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Lauren in St. Louis, and I'm here in San Diego signing off. Thank you. Global TV.